Welcome to some more woodworking. Today we're going to go over how to do inlays in production style. So if you look here, this is from a previous video. I'll have it linked down below where I did charcuterie boards. So here's board here, 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 and here. Got all the different boards. And whenever I did that, I put inlays on them. I had them all cut out here at once, so I didn't have to, put a board down, put an inlay. So I was going to show you, hopefully quickly today, how to do this production style and how to get these out a bit quicker. Because I know a lot of people do like things customized, but you don't want to spend tons of time on it. Setting up your machine is your most time-intensive part. You want that thing to run, and while you're doing something else. I'm going to walk you through the steps that I use to get a board looking like this. This is my charcuterie board here. It's got the inlay, nice flush. Looks really nice and clean. And yeah, did it all at once and got it all done. So here, I'll walk you through the steps. So with this, this part here that we cut out, I call these the negatives since you're cutting out the part, and the piece that we're going to inset, I call those the positives. So from here on out, I'll call them that. So whenever we do this, I'm just going to do these first two here because I don't have all the different boards. I'm just going to show you how you do it. So if I show you how to do two, you can continue on the process. This word's already done. I actually did that for one of my relatives, but I'm going to walk through how to make this part here and then make the negative next. So first, let's go over here to the text editor and add a text box. So here we'll go to the text editor and we'll just do test. So what I did with these is if it was too long of a name, I just didn't put the whole thing, I just put their first letter. With this, I don't think test would be too bad. It's only 4, but once you got over 5, it was just a lot of material to eat up and clean up and everything else. So here we go, we got test, click close, zoom in. Okay, what I did like to do was to connect these and not have them separate like that, but this one, I don't know if T will connect very well, so I'll leave this one separate. But in here, you're going to have to clean these up. So if you click this, and then you click the little checkbox over here for the for Vcarve mode right there, and then I'm going to search, and it's not showing anything, but we can clearly see that there's problems right here. So first, we're going to right-click on this, convert to curves. Because you cannot edit it when it's text. So before you convert it to curves, make sure that this is the right overall size that you want, width, height, and whatnot. So I'm pretty content with all that. Now we're going to come on down here, we converted it to curves, so you see how they're all different. And then like even the E is separated out, so this is like one line all the way across, and it doesn't even take the inner part. So don't move anything, but go down here, then click your scissors, make sure you click the rejoin. And we can cut this. If you're too far out, sometimes it doesn't work. And then we can clean this up here too. Cut. So now they are connected. It all looks pretty good. However, you see that bump right there? Most people would never notice it. It would annoy the crap out of me. So I'll get out of the scissors. Then I will click on this, press N. When I press N, we go into node mode. So you see how the nodes are all right here? And then probably right about here, I'll press C as in cat. And then go over here, press C. Right about here, I'll press C. And right here, I'll press C as well. Okay, now when we press N again, gets me out of node mode. Now check this out. This is all still the same. This is all still one piece here, but now this is a separate piece here. So now these are 3 separate pieces. Well, even more because this one down here. The C is for cut, so when I press delete here, I'll press delete here. Now, let me highlight that, press shift. Now click this. I'll go over here on this side, and I'm going to do it with a smooth curve, and this will rejoin. That's pretty smooth. And then I'll do it again. So that smoothed that out a bit. It didn't do as well as I'd hoped, so I can press N again as well. Now I can grab this guy here, so this is the point of which it's pivoting from. This is the magnitude and direction. So I can move that up, and you see how it's moving that curve. I don't like this curve being too small, because the smaller it is using your V-bit, the less material is going to be there that it's cutting. So try to make that look natural, but also not too small. And then right here, if you zoom out, I might even kind of round that off. So let's go here, press N for node mode, press C here. Oh, I was already in node mode. Press N again, press C there, press C there, press node mode again, N. We'll delete this. And then right here, we're going to click over on this side right here. We're going to close it with a smooth. So you see how that looks now? Looks a bit more natural. This won't be a problem. It doesn't go too thin. But so like also if you use end mills to cut things and stuff like that, these are very handy tips to use, where you go into node mode, and then what you could do is, like, say you're using a 1/4 inch end mill, or say you're using an 1/8 inch, so 0.125. See 0.125 up there is diameter. I'll click right here, that's 0.125. Then you can drag this through and see where it's actually going to cut, because it can't obviously get into that corner like this. It would only cut down to here, so you can start adjusting your letters so that it can actually cut it. So you know what's being cut, I should say. Anyways, so we got this guy right. Now before we go much farther, what I do like to do is these boxes here are just representations of the blank boards I'm putting down. So I've joined boards together in the past, if you look at the previous video, and they were this size here on this outer. And then I place them, if I zoom in, see it's 0 inches right up here. And then the edge of this one's 10 inches, that one's 20 over here. And that one starts at 30, this one starts at 40, so I am using the Journeyman. You can do this on any of them. But what I wanted to do is I have a strip of different colored wood on almost all of mine right here, and I wanted this to be an all one color of wood, because I'm going to make this darker and this is lighter here, this lighter strip that goes from there to there. And I wanted them to all be pretty much the same in area, so I copy this in the same area, but I flipped these around mainly because it just looked better on this side, or you know, it worked out better. So when I saw the physical boards in place, I separated these and set them up the way they needed to be. I will paste it over here, so Control V, and that pastes it. We're going to move it, and this is purely for a guide. It doesn't do anything else. We're not using it for anything else. This just gives me a guide to be close to the same area as the other ones. I'll press the down arrow. I think my other one isn't, yeah, it's still up a bit, so that'd be good enough. It's just a little guide just to show me the general area where I should put it. That was a hangover from a different tool path I had done. I had done this video before, but I didn't like it, so I'm redoing it now. Anyways, we're going to highlight all this, and we are going to group objects. So it all, now when we move it, double click it, it moves all as one, and you don't have to highlight the whole thing. Now with this guy here, make sure you got it the exact way that you want it. So any spacing, anything else that you want to do, you need to do it now before you go past this step. Now there is a toolpath over here for inlays itself. I haven't used it. My process here has been working just fine for me, and I get full control over everything. So if you want to use that, there's other videos available for that. This one is kind of more hands-on, but you get more control over it. So with this guy here, we're going to copy it and paste it. So now we have two of them right there. Now over here, we're going to mirror the selected objects, and we need to flip them horizontal, not vertical. Horizontal right there. Okay. Now we're not going to mess around with that guy. That is going to be on our positive. So on our negative, we're going to take this guy, rotate him, and while you have this held down, if you press 9, 0, and then enter, it will move it automatically 90. You got to be holding the mouse the whole time. So you see with our guide, it gets kind of close to the edge. I don't like that because I do round the edges off. We'll move this up. And what you can do is measure your blank here and see if this is all going to line up and make sure, like I think my other stripe starts somewhere right around here in this area. So we got the test right there. I might move it up just a hair. So that's good. Close out of the mirror. Now with this guy, so this is my boxes right there. I'm going to create a new layer. It's going to be the positives, P-O-S-I-T-I-V-E-S. And then the thing I really hate is if you click out, it doesn't work, so you got to click right here. I'm going to turn the light bulb off on it because I don't want to see it yet. I want to be on this layer. But with the positives, I'm going to copy the layer, positives. And then with this one here, Control copy. I'm going to do this one as well. 90, enter. 180, enter. So this guy here, need to do the same, flipping over. This guy here, click this, and we're going to flip it horizontal. We'll close. And actually I could just click move to the layer, but I'll just copy the layer, positives. All right, so for the tool paths for these, I'm not going to do these ones since I won't set up boards for them, but this is the general process. If you can do 2, you can do more. Over here I got the Vcarve toolpath, and it goes from 0 to 0.15 inches. Flat depth, you do need that. I prefer a 60-degree V-bit. The larger the degrees are, the larger your piece needs to be as far as what you're cutting out. You can use a, like, you know, a 30, a 20, a 10 if you want. 60 seems to be good for me for most of the things that I do. So I'm using the 60-degree, and you don't need clearance tools for this. If this was much bigger and you're using a 60, maybe. For the other tool path you will, but not for this one. So I named it Vcarve Inlay, 60-degree V-bit. I'm going to click off of those, click on this one, hold shift, click on this one, so it's only going to cut these 2. And I'll go to calculate. So shows the 2 names there. See, the program doesn't know, it just thinks this is all one board. Over here, I just put these boxes in there, the program has no idea. So as long as if you follow this when you set everything up, you'll be just fine. It will go to the right spot. You zero down here, put your boards on there on those markings, and then run it. So we got our first tool path for the 60-degree V-bit. Ignore these other ones here. Now we're going to go to the positives. Light that one up, turn that off. So now we're only looking at positives and what is in positives. I'll get rid of this tool path so we don't see it. So for these 2 guys here, we need to cut out the part that is going to be inlaid. So these, I don't know with how deep these things are cut if you need to have the grain going the same exact way. Sometimes it looks cool going the opposite way. I have had the grain going the same way. So what we'll do, I'm going to turn on the light here for a second and we'll measure the actual donor board that we're going to use for this. So if you go to a hardwood supplier, you're going to get a piece of wood like this, usually 8/10, maybe more. Now if you cut an inlay out of it, you can. The only usable part is up here, and then once you're done, there'll still be this all sitting there plus all this wood, and I don't like to waste all of that. There's many ways to skin this cat. It'll end up looking like this when it's all cut off, so here's another board I did. And then when I cut it flat, that was the part still sticking out, so this was set on the board, it's cut. So that's not much waste, but when you look at this, you know, from there to there, look how much extra you got. What I found is I can make this go twice as far if I take this size board right here, which is 9/10, a little over. They vary whenever you get them from a hardwood supplier. You're paying for 1 inch thick no matter what. It's just they pre-planed it for you or whatnot. And then what I will do, I will cut it in half like so. And then I can get twice as many out of it. So this guy right here, if you look at this, this seems to be, if I go much thinner than this, it doesn't work too well. So, you know, works out great having it in half. So we're at almost 4.8, 0.48, 0.49. So I'll use that. Well, this piece of board here, we need to model in here and then cut these out of it. Okay, with this board here, the area is 10 3/4 by 3 3/4, roundabout. I'm not going to go close to the edges, so let's go over here, create a box. 10.75. 3.75. So this box here is only for a guide as well. The program has no idea about it. I'm not going to really use it for too much. I'll show you what it will end up doing. But so if you notice, there was a screw hole in the top left and in the bottom right, depending on which way I put this. But the other part is with these pieces, you need to make sure they're completely flat. So definitely do that. Do not change the scale or anything like that with these, or you're going to be in deep trouble. This is also with the grain pattern, so we know the grain is going to be going this way. If you want to do anything, you spin these around, do whatever you want to do. That will give you the grain patterns that you want. So now's the time to do it. You can get these kind of close to each other too, but not too close. So like that. I'll move this guy over a little bit. So when we set up this toolpath to carve out our positive for the inlay, you need some sort of bounds. So here, it's the exact opposite of a V-carve. So V-carve, the V-bit just chills out right inside here. Nothing else happens. With this part, it's going to use a clearing tool to clear out all this good stuff here. And then right on the edges here, it's going to use a V-bit. Well, you have to have some sort of bounds or else it's going to just go on forever. We could use this donor piece of material bounds here, which I screwed up earlier, and you'll see that it didn't exactly work out. So I ended up just cutting this test piece here. But you need some sort of a bounds. Usually what I'll do is I'll select like this here and then do an offset like this and then go like 0.75 inches and offset it. That can work. Control Z. There's many ways to skin this cat. The things that you don't want to do is come too close, like over here. So like right there is going to be, it's like right there is going to be a screw, and then sometimes people put a screw like here and here, you know. So what you don't want to do is end up hitting those. So draw some sort of a shape to give you a full bounds, and see that's a whole bounds there. To do it in a regular shape like that, you can do something like an oval. So right here, you can draw like this oval here, and then put like a line. So you want to make it as efficient as possible. Do that, press spacebar, come over here, click the scissors, make sure that this is clicked right here. It says rejoin trim sections automatically when it's closed. So basically it'll make it all complete. So click this and this and this. And if you check that out, see it all lit up at once, meaning it's all one piece, it's all one vector. You can do anything like that that you want to do. Another technique that I like to use sometimes is to click on there, press N for node, and then press like C for cut, C for cut, and then we'll get out of that, escape, then delete that, and say you had something hanging out up there. You could put like, say, a line here, a line there around it, and there. You don't want to come too close to it, and I'll show you why. Click that, hold shift, then click a straight line. Over here on the straight side, you can do straight or curved, and then now you see it's all one piece, clicked it twice. So you can do that. That's how I came up with this shape here. something like that. I just don't want to come up too close to these. And then once you're done, you'll see that I made another toolpath, and I'm using it was a profile toolpath. And then make sure the cut depth, I'll put Z equals, and it automatically takes the from your model position and all that, where it says your depth of your material, it'll put it right there. And then you want to ramp your plunge moves, add tabs, calculate. So in here, to make the, let's not look at the profile, to make the inlay, you see how that's all lit up there? So we got a clear and we got a regular inlay, just the regular V-bit. So we'll go into this guy and I'll show you how I made it. So with this guy here, what you're going to do is it's going to be 0.1 up here, and then 0.1 flat depth, 60-degree V-bit. Whatever V-bit you used previously, you need to have it selected here. And then with this path especially, you're going to need a clearance tool because you don't want your V-bit to clear out literally everything. And I use an 1/8 inch end mill because it can get in real close in here. And then ramp them. Usually your bit's diameter works. I just do 1/4 inch because it doesn't take that much longer. And what you need to do is select this guy and this, and what you'll notice later on when you see the video of this actually being cut out, I made this box incorrectly, so the box is really coming to here, so I end up really only cutting this guy out, so you kind of see into the future. A big old screw up I made. So anyways, select those two, and then you click calculate, and also name it. So Vcarve Inlay, position 60-degree V-bit, or positive. So Vcarve Inlay, positive 60-degree V-bit, and I'll click calculate. So if we look at this guy over here, you can see, if we look at these tool paths, let's get rid of the V-bit itself. See, the 1/8 inch end mill will do all of this. I mean, the bigger you make this, the more time it's going to take. So once you're done, you can take this over to your bandsaw, cut this out all the way around, or you can do what I did was a profile tool path, which will click that and unclick everything else, and then you can see cutting everything out. And I made sure on the profile tool path that it is on there instead of, because you can pick inside, outside, or on. On seems to work the best in this case. So here's the 3 tool paths. So here's the actual V-bit, and with the V-bit you're automatically going to be punching down a 1/10 of an inch to start, so it's going to be kind of hard on your V-bit. I like to try and make it as little as possible that it'll cut at a time. So I put the path step at 0.05, so it comes back twice. And this is a thing you can mess with. You can make the same exact tool path but start this at 0. There's a bunch of ways to do it. This seems to work pretty well for me. But made all that, click OK, close. So these are ready to go. We'll end up running those, and then I will show you what you do at the very end. So these are all different tool paths here, or these are all going to be saved differently. I'll name this profile name this profile 0.125 end mill. So profile tool cut, you can't put slashes in these names, so I just try to go with the actual decimal version of it. So profile tool path 0.125 end mill, and I'll send these all out separately because they're all going to be done at different times. You got a couple tool changes, but if you do many of these at once, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, whenever you do this, make sure that you do the V-bit path first and then the end mill, because if not, the V-bit will try to push into the cleared open easy area. So whenever you run these tool paths, I like to run the V-bit first. Obviously you don't want to do your profile first, because if you do your profile, the whole piece is going to want to move around on you. So do everything you can prior to the profile, and then with this tool path especially, I try to do the V-bit first, because if the V-bit is going through and say this is solid material all the way across, it doesn't have an easy escape, you know? It's not going to want to deflect this way. But say you ran your 1/8 inch end mill first. If you ran your 1/8 inch end mill first, and this was this flat block of wood, you know, coming straight up, because it hasn't chiseled this out yet, when it comes down, instead of saying tight and crisp, it's going to want to deflect just a bit over here, so you're going to have to run the path again. It's not going to be as nice, and a lot of these nicer details may get pushed out and look like crap. So order of operations for this would be your V-bit, and then your 1/8 inch end mill, or whatever end mill you choose to use, and then your profile toolpath. So just a little help for you. I'm going to show you running those toolpaths, and then I'll show you cutting the board out, and after that it's all up to you. Alright, so I ended up going with pieces of cedar here that we'll end up putting an inlay in. So this is going to be cutting out the negative. These guys are stand-ins for my big slabs that I had in here. This is what I ended up cutting out. And then where these blue lines are, that's where the entire piece of wood was that sat there. I just don't have them right now, so I'm using these as a stand-in. So I'm going to change my tool path based upon this thickness. So where we need to set our 0 is right down here at this very far bottom corner. So that's incredibly important. And then following this line all the way across with all of your boards is very, very important. These being the same thickness, very important. This, as far as your starting point, can be up or down as long as this line doesn't eclipse your entire working area. You can move this up. You know, if you move this up to here, well then this guy, the top here, would move up to there, 2 inches. But you can't move this over unless you get rid of boards over here, depending on where you set your 0. So I'm going to set my 0 right here, 60-degree V-bit. Going to take my 0 off material surface and then start going. Alright, I took my file, loaded it in, and made sure that all the parameters look correct. I'm going to start this guy up, and we'll go. Okay, it's all cut. This is just cedar, so it's a little soft. It's got little fuzzies there. With this, I just try to get like one of these little brushes. Just get the little fuzzies out of there. You can see there, came out all right. Now we got to cut the other part that's going to inlay inside of there. Sometimes I let the... All right, with this guy here, we got our donor piece here. It's flat, as flat as it needs to be. I've already surfaced it and all that. And if you notice right here, this isn't exactly way over there. So we're going to take our 0 right there, because this piece, it doesn't truthfully matter because we don't have like, we're not using the full 48 inches to the right here. So I'll take my new 0 right here with this V-bit and then end up running it, cutting all that out. Then we'll switch to the 1/8 inch end mill. So moving right there, taking that, and then I got to take my new material 0 off of here and also input it into the program what this new thickness is, because it's going to be different from the last. So update those settings. Gonna do that now. The astute among you will realize that I've only really cut this one out and this one kind of disappeared. Apparently I'm not that great at math. I think I put in 13 inches, so it was thinking I was way out here, so I wasn't going to get all this. I'll still show you how to do this inlay. And we'll start cutting. I got the 1/8 inch end mill in there. I did not reset my X and Y zeros. I did reset the Z. So we'll run, we'll cut this out, and then assemble. Okay, the glue is dried on this guy. So there's your inlay, and then you see that little space in between there. That's where this guy comes in. I'll have the link to one of these in the description. Put it through there, and you put it flush, and so you can bend it, everything else. But as you cut, it's called a pole saw. It only works on one stroke, but works pretty damn well. Okay, so here's what it came out. It'll look real good. The only thing is it's got some bit of glue, stuff like that, so you can put down a clear coat or something on top of this prior to gluing. I just go through and do some real fine sanding, and it comes out just fine for me. I wasn't going to go too crazy on this test piece. This is just a proof of concept showing you guys that it all works, and I've done this many times with all my charcuterie boards. And since I went a little fast with the pole saw, I got a little bit of damage there, but nothing that can't come out with a bit of sanding. But yeah, this is how it works, and I was able to get tons of charcuterie boards out this Christmas. I think I did around 20 or 30 of them. Decently fast, all of them customized. So if you like what you saw in the video, if you could like, share, definitely subscribe down below. We did finally reach 1,000 subscribers, so I'm going to be giving the Jenny bit away, and I think I'll do the same thing. Once we get to 2,000, I'll send another one out. So I'm going to hopefully draw here in a little bit, put up a little short video showing it being done and mailed off. But thanks again for all your guys' support, and really appreciate it. We're a small little channel here, and every little bit helps. Definitely comment down below or like the video. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you guys give a damn about it, and it's a decent video, and it starts to recommend it to people and gets it going. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.